Welcome back to JITT Talks. We're so glad you're here with us today. Have you ever stopped to think about the beliefs you've carried throughout your life? Sometimes the very things we've accepted as truth are the things quietly holding us back from becoming who we're meant to be.
It's interesting because many of us don't even realize we're living by these beliefs. They quietly shape our decisions, relationships, leadership, and even how we see ourselves. Today, we're sharing some of the biggest mindsets we've personally had to unlearn and why letting go of them changed our lives.
What's one mindset you've had to unlearn?
So, I think there's a few, right? I think productivity, that rest is okay, performance, and self worth. But I think one of my biggest mindsets I've had to unlearn is tying my identity to what I do instead of who I am. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's I think that's really something our culture reinforces every day.
Yeah.
We're constantly asked, "What do you do?" We're celebrated by our accomplishments, promotions, and productivity. And while those things are great, they can never be my foundation of who I actually am.
Yeah.
So, one thing I had to really learn was that despite my title changing, the seasons changing, responsibilities, that my worth isn't tied to that. That if I stop coaching tomorrow or if my children don't need me in the same capacity, my value doesn't
Doesn't
change just
change.
because of my role change.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think changing that or unlearning that has really shifted my mindset about my identity, and
Yeah.
it's allowed me to be more free.
Exactly.
I think something that in our society now that we need to, instead of asking that, well, what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
How successful are you? Instead of asking those type of questions, maybe we should start asking, who am I? Or who am I becoming? Because when we understand who we are and where our identity is rooted in, we stop chasing our value through performance and start living from a place of purpose. So, yeah, I
Absolutely.
think that's one of the mindsets I had to unlearn.
Yeah. And you said something interesting in there. People always asking, what do you do? And are you always telling them, what do you do? And
Right.
you base your success and your identity on that. And I mean, you're right. The world constantly asks us, what do you do? I mean, everywhere you go, what do you do? Who are you?
Yeah.
And
Not who are
not who
you?
are you, but what do you do?
Like, what do you bring to the
What
table?
do you bring to
What
the
are the roles
table?
that you are?
How can we identify you?
Yes.
And you're right, but God asks us, who are you?
Right.
And these are two very different questions.
Mm-hmm.
When God asks you, who are you?
Yeah.
God, first of all, he's not asking because he doesn't know.
Let's
He's
make that
asking
clear.
because that's what he needs you
You
to
to know.
ask yourself.
Yeah,
Who
absolutely.
are you?
Absolutely.
And the world didn't create you. So when God is asking you, he's asking you for another reason so you can recognize who you are.
Yes.
And see, and one thing too, I want to bring up what you were saying about that. How how we eventually confuse our productivity with our identity.
Mm-hmm.
And neuroscience, we talk about dopamine, and every accomplishment creates a dopamine reward
Yes.
for us. Our brains begin craving the next accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And I know because I've been there, time or two, a few. And then productivity becomes an addiction.
Yes.
So we're constantly waiting for that next fix. We're waiting for that
Mm-hmm.
next reward, that next accomplishment, that next compliment.
Yeah,
And when we get like that, rest becomes uncomfortable for us
it does.
because in your brain you're constantly anticipating. And many people aren't addicted to work. They're addicted to feeling accomplishment and what that accomplishment temporarily gives them.
Yeah.
So, I know for me, I could work 12 hours, I could solve major problems, receive praise, and still wonder if I've done enough. And when you do that, you just, I mean, rest. You've said it before that rest should be a stewardship.
It should be.
Yeah, you said rest should be a
And
stewardship.
I also think one thing that kind of just came to my mind was, what is it for a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?
Absolutely.
And I think that's just the culture that we live in. We're always chasing success, always, going after the bag,
Always.
trying to make sure that, and I mean, this is how social media thrives, right? Because
Yeah.
everybody always wants that like.
Yeah.
And once you get that like, it's a dopamine rush.
Yeah.
I mean, and so then you keep going and you keep going because you're trying to get that rush again.
Yeah.
And so when you find out your identity and knowing that it's not tied to your roles or your likes, I think that is where you can start feeling free.
Exactly.
From wanting that dopamine release. So, Mom,
Yes.
what's another mindset that maybe you've had to unlearn?
Well, I had to learn a lot of them, but
Yeah, especially in
lot.
leadership and things like that.
Yeah, in leadership and in life too. Even as a parent, I had to unlearn different mindsets. But one of I think, the biggest one I would say, I realized doing everything myself wasn't strength. It was pretty much just fear being disguised as independence.
Got it.
Because I felt if I did everything myself, and I would have control of everything. I could predict how it was going to begin. I could predict how it was going to end.
Yeah.
So I always knew. And so what it was that fear underneath that independence. And that was that fear of me disappointing people, fear of people seeing me fail,
Yeah.
fear of losing control, and that fear of burdening people. And one of my biggest fears used to be more personal, and I would say more so within my family. If I didn't answer yes to everybody, then people wouldn't care as much about me as they do.
Right.
And
I think a lot of people struggle with
Oh,
that.
a lot of people struggle with
Yeah.
that. You
If
feel that
if I don't say yes to X,
to the
Y,
people
Z, or
that's
this
closest
person,
to you. Yeah.
yeah, like I could lose their love.
I could, and
But
you know what?
What does that say about the love? That means love is transactional.
Yeah.
And that's not.
And if that's love, you don't need that.
Yeah. No.
You don't need that. And I can tell you that's not love. And and as a leader, many leaders think delegation means giving away responsibility. But actually, and I want leaders, parents, helicopter parents, I need everybody to hear this. Delegation is multiplying your capacity.
Yeah.
Delegation is multiplying your capacity. Leadership isn't measured by everything you can do by yourself. It's measured by what continues because you empower others to do things.
Yeah.
That's
good.
how, for parents, helicopter parents, leaders, once you learn how to delegate and not have to do everything yourself, and you start empowering other people to do things,
Yeah.
you're doing more than just taking something off of your plate. You're
Yeah.
doing more than just giving up that illusion of control. You're helping people grow.
True.
You are helping people to answer that question of who are they?
Yeah.
And they get an opportunity to figure out their strengths and their weaknesses.
Yeah.
But if you don't
that's
ever
so
do that,
true.
they never will.
That's so true. I mean, I do that. I'm not so much a helicopter parent, but but I can tend to just do it for the kids. Like I'll just do it.
Yeah.
And when I start letting go and letting them do it, or trying, and you're way better at it than me,
Oh,
letting them try
yeah.
to do stuff on their own. That's that illusion of control. I see, and I am amazed by, you
They
can do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, you got it. And I start letting go, and you can do it then.
Oh, yeah.
Let me move out the way.
I still have those old school grandma tendencies. I'm not doing everything for them.
Yeah.
You got it.
And that's good. I mean, it does. It really, and they're even the light that happens in them, that you see that when they can
when
accomplish
they
something. I mean, it amazes them that they can do that.
Exactly.
Oh, I could do this myself.
Yeah, and they want to be more independent.
Oh,
which is good.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just a little something else around what I unlearned. Control.
Mm-hmm.
I was a control freak, and you know that.
Yes.
I try to control everything around me.
This is a
at
safe
home.
space?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a safe
then
space.
Yes, I agree with the statement you
Believe
made.
me, nothing's coming your way. It's a safe space. Yeah. I felt that if it needed to be done, I had to control it.
Yeah.
So, and what that control did for me, and I didn't realize it was just temporary,
Mm-hmm.
it lowered my anxiety.
Yeah.
But eventually it increased the stress because now I was carrying everything.
Yeah, you were doing it all.
I was doing it all. And when you do that, you think, because I know the beginning and the end, I got it. But everything becomes yours.
Yeah, and you think that you can control the outcome.
Yeah.
You take God out of it and become God yourself, and it makes you feel safe.
Exactly.
Control is a false illusion of safety. It makes you feel like you're safe.
Absolutely.
If I can control it, then I can control the outcome. I can control the process and how it's going to affect everybody, and we'll all be good because we never want to put ourselves in pain. So we know it's going to turn out right.
That's what we think.
Yeah.
That's what we think. But most of the time we mess up more than we do anything else trying to control.
Absolutely.
Because you can only juggle so many balls at a time, and I've learned that.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So let's switch a little bit and let's talk about how do you set boundaries around that? How do you say no? Because I recall he's resting with God now, but he was one of the most decent human beings I've ever met, and a great spiritual leader. And at my big age, I should have known this.
Yeah.
But just having him to say to me, Dr. Thomas, he said to me, saying no to others is sometimes saying yes to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's setting the boundaries. So, but Samaje, why do boundaries feel so difficult for so many people? If I went all those years without knowing that, it sounds simple.
It does.
But it's not as simple as it is. But what boundaries why do boundaries feel so difficult for so many people?
They feel difficult because people think saying no is mean and saying yes is nice. But I think what people really need to understand is that when you're saying yes, you often think that you're loving people well.
Exactly.
But one thing that I had to look at, especially in my faith walk, is that sometimes no is love.
Yes.
And if God can tell me no,
exactly.
If God could say that's not what's best for you, and I trust him in that, then me saying no to others might be what's best for them at that moment.
Exactly.
So I think people find it difficult because they end up having guilt. Yeah. They feel guilty for saying no. And many of us have struggled with this because we think that guilt automatically means that we've done something wrong.
Absolutely.
But we haven't. It might simply mean you're doing something different than people have come to expect from you.
Yeah, but and one thing, Samaje, as children, we learn if everyone is happy, I'm safe.
Yes.
And so as adults, we continue with it.
We continue with that. And that's called people pleasing.
Yes.
When we often say yes, it normally comes from a good place, right?
Yeah.
But we either want to help, we want to be kind, we want to avoid disappointing others. But when our desire to keep everyone else happy, we're compromising our own well-being.
Exactly.
So if I'm saying yes to you all the time, then what am I saying no to?
Exactly.
I mean, a healthy boundary isn't a wall.
Yeah.
It's like the sermon our pastor had taught us about
Yeah.
having a wall versus a fence, and a fence
Exactly.
with a door.
Exactly.
So the door can open and close. Having those healthy boundaries, because your boundaries don't have to be set in stone,
Exactly.
right? They just need to be healthy boundaries that can be flexible.
Exactly.
So having healthy boundaries also says I'm going to have self-respect.
Yes.
Self-respect means we're going to recognize that our time, our health, our emotions, and our peace are valuable and worth protecting.
Exactly.
We're not going to say, oh, I'll just say yes because, they're so-and-so.
Exactly.
And they mean this much to me. But if they mean a lot to you, sometimes saying no is what's best for them.
Absolutely.
And lastly, I think that when we say no, we're being good stewards.
Yeah.
We're managing our time, our energy, our relationships, our health. And we're saying that we can't continue pouring into others if we're constantly empty.
Exactly.
So sometimes no allows me to fill back up
Exactly.
so that I could say yes to the next thing.
Exactly. And Samaja, you mentioned kindness and differentiating kindness from boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Kindness says, I care about you.
Yes.
Boundary says, I also care about what God has entrusted to me.
Yes.
And those, they can coexist.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't say yes to everything if you truly care about what God entrusted to you.
Correct.
Because you can't give away everything that God is giving you.
Mm.
Just because you have it and God hasn't said yes to you to do that.
Yes.
And like you were saying, what the pastor was saying about having a fence.
Yeah.
That fence is for a reason. And put your lock on your side of the fence. Most
Yes.
backyard doors, lock is on the outside. No, you put that lock on your side.
Yes.
So you can let people in and out when needed.
Right.
And you stay in your space.
Yes.
So you can know what God is telling you to do.
Correct.
And another thing, have you ever said yes to something good that caused you to neglect something better?
Absolutely. I think, I think what it reminds me of is when we're being called to do things with a cheerful spirit, right?
Yeah.
And so in a moment, we might say yes, but through time, before we have to deliver on that yes, we could that yes can turn to regret. And
Yes.
maybe we should have not committed to this, or maybe I've committed to something. And now when we're doing the thing that we said yes to, we're only doing it out of obligation.
Exactly.
And yes, it's true. Our word should be our word.
Exactly.
But you also have to do things with a cheerful spirit.
You do. You do. And
it matters.
yeah. And when you are, if you need to know if it's a healthy boundary, ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Am I the right person to do this?
Right.
Is now the right time? Did God ask me to do this?
Yeah.
And even scripture tells even Jesus disappointed people.
Mm-hmm.
People wanted him. He left anyway to pray. He walked away from crowds.
Absolutely.
He didn't heal every person. He wasn't driven by urgency. He was led by purpose.
Yep. You can ask Mary about when Lazarus died. Did he rush?
Did he rush? No. But his purpose was to raise him from the dead.
Right.
It wasn't to heal him in that
Mary,
moment.
Martha. Yeah.
So that you have to start asking yourself those questions, and you have to start knowing what those healthy boundaries are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Samaje, how do we know when a boundary is healthy instead of selfish?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think sometimes we tend to say no just quickly, because I think I'm a person that would say no first before I say yes.
Yep.
And then I'll think about it and be like, okay, I can do it. So I think a healthy boundary, or knowing the difference between healthy boundaries and selfish ones, is ask yourself why you're setting that boundary.
Exactly.
Is it coming from love and wisdom, or is it rooted in resentment or desire to hurt someone, anger, things like that? when you think of a healthy boundary protects. It doesn't punish people.
Exactly.
It's something. A healthy boundary should be something that's consistent. They're not based on your mood, but on your values and capacity at the time.
Exactly.
Healthy boundaries allow relationships to thrive. Like when you have a healthy boundary, that should allow for clarity, clear
Exactly.
communication, mutual respect, and realistic expectations.
Exactly.
And you honor both people in it. A healthy boundary should honor both. It
Yes.
should not feel like you one up somebody. Like
Exactly.
that's not what a healthy boundary is. So through setting boundaries, oftentimes I think when people try to set boundaries, they tend to feel like me setting a boundary is an automatic no. I don't think that's the case. I think that when we say no, it's okay to say no, and we shouldn't feel like we failed somebody.
Exactly.
Have you ever experienced, Mom, like saying no and feeling like a failure because you couldn't show up for somebody? And if so, now as you've gone on with life, like how has your perspective of failure changed?
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, every time I set a boundary, I used to feel like I was a failure. And I identified myself as that. And so, I mean, but what if failure isn't your identity?
Yeah.
What if you allow failure to become your teacher? And so for me, failure tell us this approach didn't work. It doesn't say you don't matter.
Right.
So failing from failure used to identify me because I used to say every time I had to say no, or I did say no, I felt like, oh my God, I just let that person down. I did it for
Yeah.
so and so, and so I should have did it for them. But and I had to get out of that mindset because I was hurting myself. And what I didn't realize, something very positive was happening every time I was, because the brain learned through prediction errors. Mistakes literally help the brain build stronger neural
Yeah.
pathways. And failure isn't evidence your brain is broken. It's evidence that it's learning.
Yeah.
So every time you do fail, you're actually creating new neural paths.
Absolutely.
You're learning something. And so everybody think, I want to jump straight to success. I don't want to fail.
Yeah.
Success is great.
It is.
But if you don't fail along the way somewhere, you will never learn.
Yeah.
And if you don't ever learn, I don't want to say what you are, running businesses and stuff.
Right.
But even for kids, I mean, you
Right.
have to fail in order to learn.
Yeah, you can't
And
always get it right.
no. And like one of my I would say greatest, what I identified as a failure, which turned out to it was a blessing, was my last layoff from my
Yeah.
last company. I mean, I read the reading on the wall even before it came, and of course I actually felt like I was grieving it because I knew it was coming, and it wasn't because of anything I did. I had just gotten
Yeah.
a perfect performance score. My team was doing great,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, okay, so how can they lay me
Lay me
off?
off. Right.
Yeah, hey, they need me. I got a room in there full of awards and accomplishments for the
Yeah.
things that
All
I've
that I've
done.
done in the short time that I've been here.
Yeah,
Like, yeah. I
but
understand that.
I didn't allow that to identify me this time. I mean, throughout my long career, there's been a couple other layoffs. I've been laid off a couple other times, and I allowed that to identify me. And I did what most people do after, a layoff from a job that they love. Back in the day, I probably would have went and rolled up in a blanket and had a
Yeah.
couple glass of wine and call everybody and talk to
Yep.
them about it. But this time I didn't.
Yeah.
I took it where it needed to go. I trusted God. I allowed God to lead me, and I got an opportunity to do things that I've always wanted to do. I've always known that I was a writer. I've
Right.
known that
Yes.
even before you came into this world. I knew I was
Yeah.
a writer because I have boxes of books that I've written. They're
Right.
just not out anywhere, but I finally got the courage
To do it.
to do it. I finally got that courage to be vulnerable and to allow myself to listen to what God was telling me.
Yeah.
And so that failure turned out to be such a learning path for me
Yeah.
that it has led me here.
That
And
you-
the feedback that we've gotten from people on what it has done for their life, it has been
Amazing.
amazing. It has been one of the best things ever. And I mean, I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. And I think I'm among good company and failures. I mean, there's been lots of failures, but
Yeah.
I think I'm among good company. I mean, Peter failed, David failed, Moses
Yes.
failed,
Yes.
Jonah failed, Thomas doubted. And God never confused their failures with their identity. He
Absolutely. He
still
still
used
used them.
Peter,
Yep.
still loved David, and elevated him. He still used Moses
Yeah.
to bring his people out into the promised land. And so it's it's uh it's not something that we should dwell in a failure. When you fail, you need to stop and ask yourself, what is it in this that I can learn?
Yeah.
Let
Failure
it be
is
a
good.
teacher.
Yeah.
Let it be a teacher. And if God only used perfect people, who would he have left?
Right.
Who would he have left?
I agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
And before we close, I have a challenge question. What lie took you the longest to unlearn?
Yeah. And then ask, who would I become if I no longer believe that? Write it down, reflect on it, and pray about it. Take one step toward replacing that lie with the truth.
Yes. So we hope today's conversation encourages you to release what no longer serves you and embrace the person you're becoming. Remember, every journey begins with one thoughtful step.
And every transformation begins with one honest conversation.